On this week's show, we'll talk about Peloton app tiers and a brand relaunch coming in May.
Plus, Mariana Fernandez is teaching tread classes, a sale on Peloton hardware, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 127 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm John Pruitt, joined as always by my co-host, Amanda Siegel. Hey now, Amanda.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good. Long time no see.
I know. We have to do a recap. How was your quick stint at PSL?
Yeah, a nice to London. It wasn't a Peloton trip this time. I went to a conference there, but I did manage to squeeze in one day at PSL on Saturday and do one class, which we will talk about in our picks of the week because we share that same class as our pick of the week.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. The weather was obviously much warmer, so I did some touristy stuff. I went to Abbey Road, with the iconic, famous Beatles album, Abbey Road. And I took a picture, doing the walk across the crosswalk, which is a busy street. And it was really funny because there's lots of people standing there kind of waiting to shoot their shot to take a picture. I went into the gift shop. I bought a little gold Abbey Road Studios magnet. It was fun. I spent a lot of time at Harrods, going through all the various floors this time. And actually, walking around. I got some stuff at the bakery, but I didn't make any massive purchases there. But I mean, it was a really cool department store in London.
Yeah, it is awesome.
It was a real fun visit. I ate at lots of different restaurants. This one in particular called Dishoom, which I think has become my favorite.
It's right around the corner from the studio, right there in Covent Garden.
Covent Garden one. I ate at the Canary Wharf one. I did spend some time at Canary Wharf, which was fun. But no, just a fantastic weekend.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. Yep. And I'm off next week. So I am very excited.
Back to London?
I'm back. Well, we're actually going to Italy for a wedding. And of course I couldn't not go via London. So, I am heading out next week and I will be in London next Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So I'm excited.
Very nice.
So yeah, we'll have to get our new resident, celebrity co-host to join you, to record next week. But,
I must say, a friend hooked me up with a special ticket on Delta that works for the airline. So I got very lucky going to London from Detroit, and I got to fly in Delta One, which is
nice.
Like the fancy first class pods. That is the way to live. I've never got that seat before, but it was very nice. Going back, I was in basic economy. It was fine, but for anyone that's done that's an experience.
Yeah, and I always say it's nice to be able to do that going because it is a night flight, so you can try and get some rest. Whereas coming back, it's a day flight. You're sitting watching movies anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you got to do that. That's so cool. Yeah. Good. Well, you know what, John? We do have tons to talk about. I will save my enthusiastic recount of my past week, which was a 24-hour stint in New York, for when we get to our instructors in the news. So I won't talk about it now in the pre-show, but I will save it for when we get down to the bottom because I am going to milk this one dry until the very end. It was my moment of glory. So yeah, folks, you will have to watch until the end of the show to get to hear all about my epic on-stage appearance at Emma's book launch.
Epic.
But of course, before we get started with the news, we always like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is recorded and released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
Yes, and you can also listen to us if you're on the go. We're on all traditional podcast platforms. Search Pelo Buddy TV. If you aren't already, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications so you never miss an episode or an update. And also, please leave us a review. We love getting the feedback from you about how we can improve and add to the show. And, we're always, we do this for fun. We don't get paid for it. So we're always looking to make the show better for you listening and watching.
Absolutely. And of course, folks, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on all of those platforms for all of the latest news. And now, John, let's get on with the show.
All right.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right, so we kick off today's show with the evolution of Peloton and its chatter of app tiers and the relaunch of the brand. So 10 years ago, Peloton invented the connected fitness category with the introduction of the original Peloton bike. But since then, Peloton has become widely known as the at-home fitness company for workout enthusiasts. I love that I'm quoted as a workout enthusiast by Peloton, but we are, aren't we? With their advertising reinforcing that narrow positioning. Things have certainly changed, and that's not how today's members experience Peloton. The users and the user experience have evolved considerably since 2013, even if their brand marketing hasn't. In Q3, by way of example, 57% of all workouts were not cycling related. 62% of active members participated in non-cycling activities, strength training, yoga, meditation, and other modalities. And 38% of all workouts involved no Peloton hardware of any kind. Peloton say that they empower people of all on their fitness journeys from those that are beginning that journey to those that are enthusiasts. And that is taken out at home, outdoors, or at the gym, morning, noon, and night. So the time had come for them to re-look at the brand and consider relaunching it to address this disconnect. Later this month, they will relaunch their brand in order to better communicate the brand value proposition and will reintroduce the Peloton app with a tiered membership structure, such as a mobile gateway to all their fitness content from strength and meditation, outdoor running. The big question for everybody is, will that include row? The goal in relaunching the app is to engage new categories of customers, drive awareness for Peloton, and ultimately having it become a meaningful contributor of revenue for business. Peloton have said that the brand relaunch and the reintroduction of the Peloton app are two of their most important growth initiatives. In the past, they have experienced a seasonal decline in subscriber growth in the Q4 fiscal year, and they don't expect that to change, folks. They are still anticipating a decline this year as well. They have said that Q4 will be amongst their most challenging form from a growth perspective. So yeah, John, it certainly is amazing to think that it's, a now 10-year company since the fruition and the beginning of it all. And, it certainly is time. It was interesting because I did see, our friend, David Miller, Chicago born, say, hey guys, you've been advertising more than just the bike for months now. So I think it's, it tends to be Barry McCarthy's excuse for why it hasn't, gained traction and become a little bit more mainstream in all the modalities. But they have been, advertising the tread, and they have been advertising the row. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's something to see, and we'll talk about the earnings call in a bit. But it's interesting to see them and what this new branding is going to look like. So yeah, John, so just to point out, that was in fact the blurb from the investor letter that they had sent out, sharing, the news of that. So yeah, curious to see where it goes, and I guess we'll wait, through this month and figure out what the next steps, will be for the company.
Yeah, and it looks like they'll, the aim is try to also appeal to a younger demographic. So I'll be curious to see how that looks, if they're gonna, expand the color scheme and not just the traditional, Peloton red and black logo. Sort of what where they're going to go in terms of that. So it'll be interesting to see how big the changes are, widespread, and also at the studio locations and the offices, the corporate offices.
Yeah, I definitely see more and more members, incorporating their workouts with their kids. So maybe you're right. Maybe it does need to look at shifting demographics from that, 40 to 60-year-olds to, maybe even teenagers, teenagers and up. But if you think about kind of the demographic that first started out in this journey, think back to the old days at the studio, it was definitely a much older demographic to where it's kind of shifting now with younger instructors and younger members joining, which is great. It's fantastic to get young folks, into the exercise. I mean, look, I was a 50-year-old woman starting out in this journey. So I can, I wish that it had been around, 20 years prior in my 30s to be able to start being that active. So I think it's fantastic if they are looking and in fact doing that in kind of, tending to lean towards a younger demographic.
Yeah. I mean, I was in my 30s when I started on thinking back, I was in my 30s when I started on that journey myself. So
I rub it in there, Pruitt. Rub it in. I'm the old lady here. I'll take 50 any day.
Moving on to other earnings call updates. So Peloton has settled their lawsuit with Dish Network. I would give a shout out to John Mills, because I was reading through like the legal jargon and Chris Mills' write up, and John Mills posted an Instagram on Thursday morning, a nice little summary. So I'm going to piggyback on his write up, because it will be much more appealing to everyone watching and listening than me just reading the official settlement verbatim. So on the earnings report, Barry McCarthy said they've reached the settlement and patent license agreement with Dish Network. It did cost them a hefty amount, which ate into their cash flow. It cost them $75 million plus some other fees. But Barry McCarthy was quoted as saying, "We were expecting a different outcome and could have appealed the ITC decision, but we believe our growth agenda is better served by the settlement because it eliminates a cloud of uncertainty and an enormous distraction to the day-to-day operation of our business, despite its adverse impact on our Q4 cash flow." So basically, and what John Mills was speculating at the end of that little quote was, it sounds like instead of developing their own bitrate streaming mechanism, they've just licensed it from Dish Network, which is one of the main things that Dish Network was suing them for. So they're infringing on some of their streaming services, including that.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to piggyback right on there. And I also want to give a huge shout out to John Mills for being so eloquent in sharing what he took out of the earnings call. I did not have time, unfortunately, to listen to it on Thursday morning. But from what it looks like, and really just kind of talking about the numbers, and again, thank you so much, John Mills, for sharing this info. We're looking at what they're looking at, the app subs gained, about 1,000. So that's up to 853,000, members. The churn is still 1.1%, so there's no change in that. Their gross margins were 36%. They took a net loss of $276 million, and their adjusted EBITDA was a loss of $18.7 million. In their outlook, due to a slow season, they expect to lose about 30,000 connective fitness subscribers this quarter. So, again, to go back to them looking at rebranding and trying to figure out how they're going to bring in new members, is definitely a much needed, act on their part at this point, is figuring out how we're going to get, how they're going to get new folks in there. John said that, he doesn't expect for the company to be profitable, at the end of fiscal, Q4 2023. And I love how he references Uncle Barry. He said, Uncle Barry said they expect the Tread Plus to come back. So I know for so many that are waiting with bated breath, that was a huge, a huge nugget that folks, I think, are gravitating towards. They still don't have a timetable. So, what does that really, really mean? But yeah, I think that, that kind of gives us a picture. Control room, if you feel like I've left anything out, please let me know if I should add anything else in. But I think that pretty much sums it up, John. So hopefully that gives you folks at least some indication of kind of how the call went. The stock's a disaster. Yeah. I won't even go into that. We just saw, it's probably the lowest I think it's ever been at about, opened at $7 or something on Thursday morning, prior to the earnings call. So, it certainly didn't look great. But you know what? Again, it's so frustrating because, we're still in it and we love it. And, it's upsetting that the business world don't see it as a profitable company or one that they should invest in, which I think is, frustrating. But we'll just continue to plod along and do what we do, because ultimately it's a gain for us from a health perspective, and that's what it's all about. It's a fitness product. That's what we're all in it for. So hopefully that's just
gotta stay the course. Stay the course.
Exactly. All right, tell us what's next.
Well, shifting into a little bit of other bad news. In terms of class purges, we just had a recent purge of some Peloton class content that was removed from the on-demand library. It was 2 weeks worth of classes that were purged, plus a little bit of outdoor content. As we had previously, we reported on Pelo Buddy and on social media. We don't know the exact pace at the frequency at which this will happen again in the future, possibly weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Time will tell. But these class purges have previously been done only once or twice a year, which results in hundreds or thousands of classes being removed at one time with little to no notice. The first of these class library maintenance process took place on April 28th. So since it was the first one with this new process, nobody was really sure of how many classes would be removed. But prior to the 28th, aside from a handful of special exceptions, the oldest classes available in the library were from April 1st, 2019. So with the recent class purge that took place last week, aside from a few exceptions, the oldest classes now available will take you back to April 15th. So hence the 2 weeks of content being removed. So 2 weeks of classes from April 1st to April 14th, 2019 are no longer available. And at this point, there's only 6 classes, those exceptions, that are available prior to April 15th. And those are the Turkey Burn Run with Robin, the Greatest Showman Ride, also with Robin Arzon, which is a very popular favorite with so many members. Yeah. There's 4 Emma strength classes that are part of the Crush Your Core program with Emma. There's also a possibility Peloton removed a handful of newer classes outside of that oldest set of that old 2-week window from 2019. But we weren't able to track every single individual class. So,
of course,
if you happen to notice a recent class that was also taken out, please, let us know on social media, shoot us a message, because we're very curious to see what other things they might have snuck out of there.
Yeah. All right. So you can definitely say, folks, that you heard it here first. A few weeks ago, we had reported that Peloton yoga instructor Mariana Fernandez was rumored to be joining the Tread team after a warm-up run class was spotted by members at PSNY on the upcoming recording schedule for the day. That was back in March the 23rd. Well, we are beyond, I know I am beyond excited to share that it is now official. Mariana teased her addition in an Instagram reel she posted showing her moving from yoga into running shoes and running off in Central Park with a caption, "A little more Mariana, fusing my passions. Ready?" Mariana's premiere live class was then launched on the platform shortly after her announcement as an upcoming live class in studio this past Thursday. So May 4th at 7 p.m., Mariana shimmied her way onto the back of a treadmill and gave us a 20-minute extravaganza, as I expected. Wow. Nothing less from her. I mean, I am just beyond excited for her. I know that this was something that she, truly wanted so badly, and I am just elated that she gets to do something she loves doing. I mean, not that she doesn't love yoga, but that she absolutely is a runner. She also has a walk plus run on the schedule for Sunday, May the 14th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And we can definitely expect to see some on-demand classes for running and walking added to the library too. Typically, we see that when a new tread coach or a new coach in any modality is launched, they always have, pre-recorded on-demand classes.
Yeah, cool downs or warm-ups.
Correct. Yeah. Correct, that they drop. At this time, both the live classes are in English. It will remain to be seen, we've spoken about this, as to whether or not Peloton will introduce Spanish language classes on the tread. So, as we all know, most of Mariana's yoga and meditation classes are done in the Spanish language. But as for now, her tread, classes will be in English. A note to those that are not aware, although this is Mariana's official premiere on the tread, it's not her first rodeo running. And she had done a scenic run from Puerto Rico back in 2022. So for those of you that want to kind of go back and take a look, it was done on the audio section of the modalities. There is an amazing run and actually a ride, as well as an English meditation that Mariana had done.
Section.
In the scenic section, excuse me, not in the audio.
Thank you.
Not in the audio. Yep, in the scenics. Thanks, control room. Not audio section, the scenic section. So the launch of this new modality actually lines up really nicely with her 2-year Peliversary, which she just celebrated last month. So I just want to say, I know Mariana listens to the show and we're so appreciative of that, but I want to say, huge congrats. And I'm so thrilled and excited. I just don't have enough hours in the day to get these faves in. I mean, I am going to be living on my tread. I think my bike is finally starting to collect dust because I am spending way more time. I know. I am spending way more time on the tread than I am on the bike. And I have been given the all clear to start riding again whilst I'm not able to run. So Mariana's run on Thursday night had to be a nice walk, brisk walk, but I wasn't missing it for anything. So amazing and so fun. And we just are so proud of her.
Well, I'm excited to do some tread with her. I don't get a chance to do enough meditations, especially with Mariana. So I'm very much looking forward. And I love the crossover of instructors. We had Hannah Frankson come over to the tread, in addition, to already teaching on the bike, and Camilla also coming to the tread as well. So I love that they're
Logan coming from strength to tread mat too. Yeah. So it's awesome.
Keep it coming, because I love seeing instructors teaching other modalities and enjoying them on the other hardware.
Absolutely.
All right. So Star Wars. We had May the 4th be with you on May 4th for all the Star Wars geeks and loyal fans of the Star Wars universe. There's some limited time content just on the 4th and 5th of May. So apparently on Sam's special 30-minute Star Wars ride, which premiered, was pre-recorded, premiered, at 7 a.m. London time, which is 2 a.m. In the morning, Eastern time, on Thursday, May 4th. There is a long Peloton scroll done in, a la Star Wars, which is that long scroll that goes from, I guess, top to bottom, and then, it slowly fades out, but it starts out with the Peloton logo flashing. Apparently that will be the limited part of the class, which after the 4th and the 5th, it will no longer be a part of the ride if you go to take it after that, after the 5th of May. That's what we're hearing, because Sam had stated before the class premiered that there was going to be some special something limited special about it. And that's what we're hearing is the only part that will be changed after the 5th of May. So just if you want to enjoy that part, be sure to take the ride or check it out. Obviously, this episode is appearing after that date, so hopefully you had a chance to see it. But if not, I'm sure Pelo Buddy, and it's being shared on other channels, so you'll hopefully have a chance to see that if you didn't actually get to enjoy it on the ride, if you happen to take it after the 5th.
Yeah. All right. And May will be a bumper artist series month, with Peloton giving us a look ahead at what to expect. So this was something new that they did. Usually they, launch them on a Tuesday, but we got to find out what to expect in May, starting with a artist series with Yeah, which launches on May the 11th. And then a much anticipated Bruce Springsteen artist series, May 17th to the 19th. And finally, the Jonas Brothers, May 25th. So at this time, we have a glimpse of some of what's coming from the studio schedule, that members can sign up to participate live, but there will most likely be additions added to the on-demand library too. So as I said, typically Peloton officially announce a new series on the Tuesday before it hits, but this time they gave us a heads up of the 3 artist series, because members were able to then sign up for those specific classes when the schedules launched, on the Thursday, prior to them being there. I'm looking
wasn't
at control room.
From control room. Yeah, it wasn't official.
Wasn't official, but now we know, right? Or no?
You could just tell from looking at the studio website because we're
exactly.
We're so perceptive.
You can head over to pelobuddy.com to see a full list of the already released dates of classes and which instructors will be teaching. There are just too many to share here. But one thing to note, though, is that the Bruce Springsteen ride taught by Jen Sherman will, in fact, be on a Wednesday. That's the May 17th at 7 p.m. Typically, members are not in the studio Wednesday, but this live ride will in fact have in-person riders in it. So Bruce Springsteen, as everybody who rides with Jen Sherman knows, is a favorite of hers. And, this is just, I know, going to be an epic ride with her, sharing her excitement and joy of being able to finally give that, to members for what they have wanted. So I do actually just want to now, it kind of all registered in what Chris Lewis was saying. So this is the perceived bit that Pelo Buddy loved to bring to you guys, in that Peloton did not share that there were going to be these 3 artist series, but Chris picked that up from the schedules being released and being able to see now that we have the whole month of May, because obviously the classes are released 6 weeks prior, to them coming onto the platform. He was very sneaky and got to figure out that there were these 3 artist series coming. So huge kudos, Chris Lewis.
Now I will clarify though. Jen, a week or two ago, announced her Bruce Springsteen ride, which was really unusual because normally the instructors, they never announce an artist series class that they're doing that far in advance. So Jen did, I guess she got the green light to share the news that far in advance. So she shared it at the end of, I can't remember which class it was, but it was a week or two ago. It might have been just last weekend, but I think it'll be fun. I'm sure she will be inviting some of her most loyal JSS Tribe members, especially the hardcore Bruce fans. Now, I love Bruce. Not my favorite artist to ride to. He's got a lot of the slower songs. It'll be fun either way, but I just remember Bruce Springsteen was a restricted artist for a long time. They weren't able to play it for the longest time. And just recently, I guess they got the streaming rights to it, to add it back into their library. But folks were hitting Jen up all the time to play Bruce. And she just, she couldn't really, say why, but it was because, they couldn't play him. But, it was, I thought it was really funny that she announced it so far in advance, because you never see, usually it's a day or two before they announce it, before the actual class. So it was kind of fun. She gave such a advance notice.
Again, it's so silly. Why not let members just enjoy and get excited, as opposed to scrambling to try and get onto their favorite artist, just 2 days before.
I feel like it's because they always have so much news to share, and they probably think that we have such a short memory or attention span. They just want to do it a day or two before so everyone remembers and it doesn't get put on the back burner, and get old and stale.
Right. Well, that's kind of how I felt with Mariana. And that's how I felt with Mariana because, rightly so. Obviously, she didn't share that, when she was going to launch, specifically. She hinted, but I figured it was going to be the beginning of May. But I had dinner plans on Thursday night that I canceled because I was not missing her run for anything. But if I had known ahead of time, I wouldn't have made those plans. So I had to make up some sneaky excuse as to why I wasn't joining some friends for dinner on Thursday night, because I had to be on the tread, and thank God they're not Pelotoners and don't listen to the show, so I'm safe. But I wish they would give a little bit more warning, and that goes for this too. My next thing, just to add, if there are any Willie Nelson fans out there, in celebration of his 90th birthday. I mean, that is just insane.
Wow.
There is a ride with Dennis Morton that dropped this past Tuesday. So May the 2nd at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Willie Nelson had actually posted something on his IG story about the ride. But we didn't see anything official posted by Peloton. So for folks jumping on, they got 20 minutes of iconic Willie Nelson tunes. And interestingly enough, it actually coincided with him being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this past week too. So, I didn't do the ride, but I'm sure that Dennis, gave him much justice. And, for those that are country, or rock and roll fans, they got to, ride out, pedal out to, good old Willie Nelson. So that was kind of cool.
Cool. Well, May is Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, or APIHM, in the United States, and Peloton is celebrating with special content throughout the month. They shared the news via their Insta stories. Members can expect to see APIHM classes appear on the schedule throughout the next weeks across a lot of different modalities. The classes will also be placed in the APIHM collection, which also includes classes from prior years, from 2021, and 2020. Peloton already announced a number of classes that will air live. We've got so far a full list on pelobuddy.com of the announced ones. They include a 10-minute meditation with a DT on May 8th, a 30-minute yoga flow with the DT as well, also on the 8th, a 30-minute K-pop row boot camp with Katie Wong on the 9th, 10-minute pop bar with Allie on May 10th, and a 30-minute API Heritage Walk with Susie on the 13th. And there's definitely additional classes that are expected to be added to the schedule throughout the month, so keep an eye out that. Peloton's also going to be encoring classes from prior years. And previous years, classes have been awarded a special badge, so I'm sure there will be one that goes with it for this year for anyone that you complete. We've also got shout out to Chris Lewis and Pelo Buddy for the ever-growing, comprehensive, complete list of available badges in our guide, available on pelobuddy.com if you want to take a look at that. And then also with with new content, we've got some new mobility classes, plus a foam rolling one that just dropped on demand last week. There's classes with Ross, Rebecca, Hannah Corbin obviously has the foam rolling one with Eric Jaeger in German, and also one with Maddie and Mila Lazar in German as well. So be sure to hit those up.
Love those mobility classes. That's awesome. I'm glad that they're bringing
And interestingly,
more.
I saw Mila on the street in London. She was, I was going up the escalator at Tottenham Court Road at the subway stop, and she was in front of me. I didn't say it. She had those big like headphone cans on her head.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything to her, but I did bump into Bradley Rose in the street in Covent Garden. He was walking through one of the little side streets with a salad, and I guess he was going back to teach another class in the afternoon. He was subbing for someone, so as soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oi, Bradley Rose!" So we talked, we chatted for a second, and said hi. And
nice.
He was on his way, so that was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Little instructor in the wild sightings.
Yeah, that's always fun. All right. Well, shifting gears completely, Peloton will be hosting a virtual community event in honor of Mother's Day in the United States, which falls on Sunday, May 14th this year. We are aware that the UK have already celebrated their Mother's Day. So I believe that Canada celebrate theirs as the same as the US. I don't know when Australia celebrates theirs, as well as Germany. So it's interesting that the world celebrate mothers at different times. But as far as the US goes, they are going to be hosting a virtual event. This year, the event is titled Magic of Motherhood, and it'll be hosted by Robin Arzan and Jess King, both who are expecting their second children. Robin is pregnant with her second, and Jess's partner, Sophia Eurista, is having their second child. An email was sent to some members inviting them to RSVP to the event. It'll take place on Tuesday, May the 16th at 4 p.m. from 4 to 4:30. If you are interested in attending and did not receive the email, you can actually head over to pelobuddy.com and find the link there to sign up. The biggest chuckle that I got out of the initial email that was sent to members was that inadvertently they said Jess Sims and not Jess King. And I know that there was a flurry within the community wondering, is Jess Sims having, a baby, which was kind of funny. And I'm sure you probably got a big chuckle out of that. I'm surprised I didn't see Maddie use that in some context on one of his walks and go with it. But maybe they were told not to.
You got to be careful.
Exactly.
I don't think we mentioned it, but I do remember Jess Sims sharing on social media recently about doing something with her eggs. Freezing.
Yes, she did. She froze her eggs. She did freeze her eggs. She did share that on social media that she froze her eggs.
Not to try to fuel any kind of speculation. I just remember her posting about that. I don't remember us.
And I'm a huge advocate. I'm a huge advocate for that. So I love seeing the instructors being open about their journeys in preserving their fertility. It's fantastic. So kudos to her. All right.
Well, while we're still on the subject of Mother's Day, we've got a Mother's Day hardware sale. So Peloton has launched a new sale on hardware device packages in all their markets. So the name of the sale varies based on what country you're in. In the US and Canada, it's the Peloton Mother's Day sale, but in the UK and Germany, it's a summer sale. While in Australia, because the seasons are different there, it's a winter sale. Discounts are available for the Bike Plus, the Tread, the Peloton Row, and the Guide. And all the sales are available on the Peloton website, which we have linked on the write-up of this on pelobuddy.com. And it runs from May 4th through the 15th. The exact amount of the sale obviously depends on what country you're on, but like most of the previous sales, Peloton is offering a discount on the package. So the discount is large enough to make the package cheaper than buying just the device by itself. So in the US, the discount on Peloton devices is $400 off the Bike Plus, the Tread, and the Row packages, and $150 off the Peloton Guide packages. The new sale, it's offering the same discounts that were previously offered in their spring savings sale that ran from March 23rd to April 3rd of this year. It was part of their New Year's discounts earlier this year that offered a slightly bigger discount. But in the US, Peloton is also offering a discount on the refurbished Peloton bike, and that is $150 off. So it brings the price down to $995. And this update is not fully reflected everywhere on Peloton's site at the time of the article that was published regarding the sale on pelobuddy.com. So take advantage of that. If you are still on the fence and haven't bought some new hardware.
There's so many opportunities now to purchase hardware somehow. It's crazy, with the refurbished stuff.
There's always a deal to be had.
There's always something. All right. This past week, US members had the ability to buy some Peloton apparel, which was on sale. There was an additional discount if folks used the code add to cart. So they are desperately trying to move some of their apparel that's probably just been sitting around for some time as they continue to launch new stuff consistently. So, yep, if you missed that, sorry. But if you didn't, there had been a sale.
Yep. And shifting a little bit, the Peloton app, this is for folks in the United Kingdom and Germany. The Peloton app is no longer available on Sky Q, which is a subscription-based TV and entertainment platform in the UK. and Germany. The Peloton page for the SkyQ website has been replaced with a message stating that the Peloton app is no longer available on SkyQ, Glass, or Stream. And recently, the past couple months, Sky members had been reporting issues with the Peloton app on the platform. On a help forum titled Peloton App Not Opening, a number of users had posted comments indicating they were having difficulty accessing the Peloton app on SkyQ. And then on April 26th, a Sky employee responded that the content would be no longer available within the next 24 hours, and then it was removed. Peloton had first launched on the SkyQ platform about 2 years ago. So people who have the SkyQ platform, they're able to use apps such as Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, similar to the way the Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and the Fire Stick work. So I don't know if Chris Giles has our friend, or Rich Denham. I didn't really hear a whole lot of backlash about this. I did hear that it didn't really ever work that well on SkyQ.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure if it was just
maybe that
something they looked at and
nobody said that.
So Chris never used it on SkyQ. So yeah.
All right. Well, Peloton has secured a new underwriter for their extended warranty plans, or what Peloton refers to as Peloton protection plans in the United States. As of May the 1st, 2023, the Extended Warranty Service Corporation will service Peloton's US-based extended warranty plans. This is purely a behind-the-scenes change. It will have no impact on the cost of the plan or the duration, but we wanted to make sure that you were aware of it.
All right. And in good lawsuit news for Peloton, a lawsuit about the ever-growing library is not allowed to be, is not going to be given class action status. So a U.S. judge last Tuesday refused to let Peloton Interactive customers pursue a class action lawsuit accusing the bike and treadmill maker of misleading them about the ever-growing size of its library of its on-demand fitness classes. District Judge Louis Lamont in Manhattan said that individual issues predominated over common issues affecting the many thousands of customers in this proposed class lawsuit, and therefore the customers could not sue as a group. So the decision, it's victory for Peloton because class actions can only allow for greater recoveries at lower cost than when plaintiffs sue individually. So Peloton, I remember when this came out, I thought it was just the dumbest, thing to get in such a twist for after that massive purge of classes from March of 2019. But Peloton had been accused of enticing people to buy its product based on its improper commitment to provide an ever-growing or growing library of on-demand classes. So customers sued after Peloton decided back in 2019 to purge more than half of its estimated 12,000 classes following litigation by music publishers that accused the company of streaming songs without proper licensing. And according to these customers, they said that Peloton knew this could happen, yet kept charging full price for products containing copyrighted songs by various artists such as Adele, Beyonce, Drake, Ariana Grande, Madonna, Justin Timberlake, and many other artists. So the judge continued, Judge Lamont said the customers could not sue on a theory that they were induced to pay premium prices because some might not have seen Peloton's challenge statements. He also said the customers did not measure the damages attributable to those statements. So I'm not surprised at all. I thought it was really ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And most people, when I saw them post about it, it seemed like most members were in agreement that it was really silly to even try to bring about a class action lawsuit for something like that.
Right.
So it was happy for Peloton there.
Exactly. All right. And rounding up the news, a very happy birthday to Chelsea Jackson Roberts, who celebrated on Tuesday, May the 2nd. Another Taurus in the mix there. And next up, John, let's go right into Instructor in the News.
All right. Well, congratulations to several instructors who recently ran in some marathons and races last weekend. So big congrats to Susie Chan and her running teammate Emma Harris, who ran an astonishing 81 miles in the Badwater Salton Sea Ultra Marathon, which is mind-boggling to me, but that just seems like a typical weekend for Susie, apparently. It's just a walk in the park. And our friend Jeffrey McEachern, who ran in the Milton Keys Marathon. And then Mariana Fernandez and Bex Gentry both ran a half marathon, the NYRR Shape Plus Women Plus Health Women's Half Marathon last weekend. And huge congrats to Bex, who finished second.
Insane. I mean, absolutely insane. Incredible. So huge shout out and congrats to the four of them. All right, John, where do I begin? I know this has to be about Emma and her book launch, but I just don't think it would have been as successful as it had been if it hadn't been for the epic confetti spreading volunteers at her launch. Let me explain. Monday evening, May 1st, Emma Lovewell launched her new book, Live, Learn, Love Well, Lessons from a Life of Progress, Not Perfection, which was moderated by none other than a very jet-lagged Cody Rigsby, who had just landed from his European trip to London and Paris. And it was held at the London Town Hall Theatre in NYC, right across the street, I may add, from the And Juliet stage. So I know everyone's been talking about that lately. So it was literally right across the street. It was a fairly packed audience. It wasn't a full house. It was pretty well attended, I have to say, and very well attended by obviously the US instructors. It was quite funny because there were 2 rows right behind me that were left open, and I turned around to my friend Tracy and I said, "How much do you want to bet me those are for the instructors?" And in true celebrity status style, they dimmed the lights and brought in all the instructors at the very end, right before Cody went on stage. This was my first Peloton event. I have never attended anything. Unfortunately, the first HRI, or what did they end up calling him?
Home rider invasion.
Was, pre me. So I never got to, COVID hit when I was, scheduled to attend the first one. So I've never really been at an event where we pretty much had every US instructor. There were a couple that were out of town and weren't there, but pretty much the entire slew of them were there. So I was buzzing. I was excited. Was I buzzing because Moms of Peloton, Melissa Ferrara, had invited folks to join her across the street for some apps and drinks pre-show. So maybe I was buzzing because of that. But it was very, very exciting. Emma looked spectacular. She was wearing a gold satin suit, and truly presented. I've never seen Emma in that way before. I've obviously ridden with her on the bike, but I've never really seen her in that kind of setting. She was exceptional. Cody came on stage, gave her an incredible opening. He was the moderator. And it was just a very different evening. People were saying to me when they saw some of my Instagram stuff, they were saying, wasn't it like a book signing? No, it wasn't. It was a book launch. and it was a party. So they ended up doing a chat between the two of them. Cody asked Emma a bunch of questions about the book, why she wrote it. She gave history behind her upbringing in Martha's Vineyard and her fitness journey, her dancing background, which was just amazing. And then they turned it around. They had a DJ on stage, and they turned it around into a name those lyrics. So they started off a song, and then each one of them had to continue the lyrics for that specific song. So that really got things, fun and moving along. And the audience were all helping and trying to know, what the lyrics were. That was a ton of fun. And I've posted a ton of that on my social media, on my Instagram. So if folks want to see how much fun that was, you can certainly head over to Siglo 3 and get to see that. But then the two of them stood up and they pushed the chairs away. And Emma asked if she could have two volunteers. And of course, my hand was up there as quick as you could say Jack Robinson.
Yeah, you and the rest of all the screaming rabid attendees.
I mean, come on. And I got picked together with Jess Malone, who is just such a fun, just such a fun human, who happens to
if
be
anybody doesn't know, she's one of the, I guess, the in-studio PAs.
Correct. I think she's actually now been, she's actually been elevated
she's been
to
promoted.
producer.
Yeah.
She has been promoted. She is now she's now a producer, but she is just a ton of fun, very close with a lot of the instructors. So the two of us went up on stage and it really was a blur, John. I mean, when I think about it, it was just so much fun. Chris, Emma's husband, I believe his name is Chris too, right? Is it Chris? I think so.
Sounds right.
I'm blanking now. Yeah. He came up with a big air blower, leaf blower, and we were handed bags of confetti. Benny Adami would have been very proud. And in fact, I even said, this is for Benny, as I pointed to the confetti. And the two of them sang, lip synced to Celine Dion, which was just epic. They got the audience involved. Everybody turned their cameras around and had the lights, on. It was very well orchestrated, a riot.
And synchronized.
It was a riot. It was just fun. It was a riot. It was fun to be up there. It was my absolute 5 minutes of fame. I said I elevated my status from a D-list celebrity to a C-list celebrity now that I was on stage with Cody Rigsby and Emma Lovewell. But I was just so blown away by Emma and her, just her eloquent manner and how she spoke about her life and her book. We all got a signed copy if you were in the orchestra, with interestingly enough, a bookmark that is biodegradable. And if you plant it and water it, it will grow. So I haven't attempted to try that, but that's what I've been told. I will go on to say that Emma did announce her book tour as well. So that was the launch of the book. She is going to be having in-person events in Santa Monica, San Francisco, Chicago, and Martha's Vineyard. She's going back home, as well as an invite-only event at Peloton Studios. So that would be for members. It will be moderated by Ali Love, and it was an invite-only event. So folks had to be invited in order to go that. She also is holding a virtual event, held, I should say, because that was actually last Tuesday, the 2nd, with Random House Publishing. And that was moderated by Phoebe Robinson. We also got to see Emma live on TV this past week. She appeared on CBS's morning show, as well as others. So, haven't started reading the book yet. I am taking it with me on my travels next week. So I hope to come back and share more about the book once I've read it. But it just was a really fun, fantastic evening and get to share it with you guys. So, yeah.
And it's fun. You got to meet, I forget her name, the creator of the Gus grip, the Peloton
I did.
handlebar accessory.
I did, who is a friend of yours, I understand, or knows you, and just a great group of folks, came out, mostly women. It was interesting because the event is mostly, mostly women. There were folks that I've been chatting to on social media for years that I finally got to meet in person. So that was really fun. Tammy Lynn, who is Rebecca Kennedy's admin. I got to meet Tammy.
Tammy Huber.
I got to meet, I got to meet Christina. Oh gosh, I forget Christina's leaderboard name, but she is the big Backstreet Boys follower, who's just absolutely the loveliest person. They're just tons. I mean, I'm going to forget everybody that I met because at that point I was on glass number 3. And then the rest of the night is history. But it was a fun time. So I'm really glad I took the time. It was literally I left my house at 1:00 on Monday afternoon, picked up Tracy McCann on 95 at the Delaware rest stop on the way up to New York. It was hysterical. It was literally a drive-by. It was hysterical. Got to New York in time to turn around and head off to Melissa's little get-together, Mums of Peloton's get-together, the show. And then we left in the morning and I was back in Maryland at 1:00 on Tuesday. But it was so much fun.
Wow. Exciting times for Emma and Team Lovewell. It's great.
Absolutely.
Well, Christine D'Erical, she was recently a keynote speaker for the Heart of Florida United Way's 16th annual Women's United Luncheon to speak on mental fitness. Christine had posted on Instagram about it recently, saying, just as we exercise to build strength, endurance, and flexibility in our bodies, we can exercise our minds to build mental strength, flexibility, and emotional endurance through practicing self-talk. She says, cultivating the ability to manage our inner dialogue helps us develop the tenacity to make better decisions in times of crisis and difficulty. She wanted to thank the United Way for having her and for having her workshop as part of the events so that she could take a deeper dive into how to practice mindfulness in self-talk. The work, she went on to say, the work you are doing to make resources accessible to those struggling financially, mentally, and emotionally saves and changes lives.
All right. And then
Cody. Yeah, I still have another one. So Cody, he will appear at the event Raise Your Voice, a Cabaret for a Cure, which is a special event in New York City on Sunday, May 7th. The event was launched by actor Rob Morien and honors those affected by blood cancer. It features the event. It's a big show, so it features a talented ensemble of Broadway performers and up-and-coming artists. The performers will take you on a journey of inspiration and empowerment, sharing stories of personal triumph and grace in the face of adversity. The event is scheduled, like I said, Sunday, May 7th at the Peter J. Sharp Theater in Manhattan, 7 p.m. Tickets, and you can attend. Tickets range in price from $30 for students to $100 for VIPs, with all proceeds benefiting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And in addition to Cody, the event will have a number of other special guests, including actor Matt Rogers, who appeared in the LOL Cody Holiday Edition ride next to Bowen Yang. I think Matt co-hosts the La Culturistas podcast with SNL actor Bowen Yang. The full list of participants, though, was published by Theaterly, and you can learn more about the event via the Raise Your Voice Cabaret for a Cure website, and you can also purchase tickets via Symphony Space if you want to attend.
All right, and Bradley Rose appeared side by side on a podcast, and it was his wife. So Sophia Para, his wife, has a podcast called Marketing Unfiltered. And if you have an hour and 22 minutes, don't miss it. It was a very informal side by side chat where Bradley mostly spoke about his stroke. and how he kind of went through the whole thing. It was amazing. I happened to have listened to it actually on my ride up to New York on Monday. And I got to tell you folks, don't miss it. They're very cute together. They seem to have just a wonderful relationship. So hearing them be so intimate and talk about, how both Sophia felt when Bradley was going through this, as well as Bradley's, own, recant of, something that was pretty traumatic. Obviously he's on the other side of it. He talks about how he has to watch his health constantly, how he listens to his body, but really being able to hear, literally a step by step of experiencing, the stroke and not really knowing what it was for about 2 days, where he was told that he was just under stress and exhausted. Meanwhile, finally getting an MRI, discovering that in fact, he did have a blood clot and, needed to obviously, be treated. So thank God he came to the other side of that, but a really, really awesome, podcast. And then Susie Chan, just released this. So it's actually an old podcast. I did take a listen to it. It's only about 27 minutes. She was interviewed by Runner's World, the Runner's World podcast. It seems to have been recorded towards the end of last year, because at the time of recording, she did not know that she had qualified for Badwater. She spoke about possibly doing it and how anxious and apprehensive she was about doing that. And obviously we now know that, she did get accepted and she's already done, parts of the race, as we just spoke about, the Salton Sea, which is a series of races that they do prior to actually, doing the race. But that was also a wonderful informal chat that she had with the two co-hosts of Runner's World in the UK. So a really fun podcast to listen to. I love hearing Susie chat. So that was fun.
Great. And Olivia X Puma collection is coming May 20th. She recently posted on Instagram in a little outfit. There was no detail as to what that collection would include. I assume it's clothes plus shoes, but that is all the information that we have right now at this point.
All right. And I guess, John, we go right into picks of the week. I will go ahead and kick it off. All right. First up, we have Marcel Dinkins, a 30-minute two-pack walk. That was from the 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We got this one from Teach Love CA and Dippin' Dot 22. They said Marcel really brought it for the series. Great playlist too. Then we have Anna Greenberg, 30-minute slow yoga flow from the 28th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Our trusty picker, Amaja 3. Thank you so much for always recommending such awesome picks here. They said great relaxing yoga class. And John Husking, 30-minute dance music walk. It was from the 29th, 4:30 a.m. Eastern time. Ali spins Pelo, great playlist and awesome vibes.
All right. And next up is my pick of the week and also one of yours, Amanda.
And I gave it to you since you were live.
I don't know. Is this your only one? Because this is my only one.
I do have one other. I do have one other. So you go for it.
So it is Jeffrey McEachern's 45-minute pop walk, which was in English from Saturday, April 29th, which I was in the studio for along with my UK friends, Greg Pick, Peloton, James, I think is this James. What's his last name?
Yep.
James Doe. James Dare.
Dave.
And also, I can't forget Emily Parsons, who was in that class with me as well. She was in the tread to my right, and she did her 100th walk and got a nice shout out. And I did my 300th walk in that class, but it was a super, super fun class. And also we also received this pick from our friend Bertha C. Runs MD as well. So some of the comments we got were, first of all, it was in English. Second of all, his energy was off the charts and he was so giddy and funny. And thirdly, every time Jeffrey giggled, I giggled too. And it just made me want to give him a big hug in a non-creepy, non-stalkerish way. Ha ha ha. He just lights up the room with his smile and laugh. And this one was a lot of fun because he solicited song requests from members. So there's a lot of member song submissions, and he covered a lot of decades. You know, he started off with Blondie's Heart of Glass. He played some Whitney, How Will I Know, Donna Summer, Hot Stuff. Then went into the more current pop, some Justin Bieber, some Akon, Gwen Stefani with The Sweet Escape. Then played some Kylie. And then he played my song request, which interestingly enough is not a usual song request, but I have become a bit of a Swiftie, a Taylor Swift fan as of late with all of the Taylor Swift Eras Tour content that my FYP feed on TikTok has been flooded with.
Yes.
So I requested Taylor Swift's song Cruel Summer, which apparently Emily Parsons had also requested. So that was a lot of fun when that came on. And he played some Pink, some Beyonce, some Whitney Houston, Lady Gaga, Rain on Me. And then he closed it out with Elton's Your Song. But it was a lot of fun. The energy was great in the studio. Every tread was taken. It was a full class, and everyone really seemed to be really into it.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him. It was his first class back after having been off from being in the States and then doing his content that we're waiting for, his scenic content with Rebecca Kennedy. Dying to see where they ended up. We don't have any hear it here first. You didn't get any inside scoop.
Amanda, for anyone who doesn't know, I did FaceTime call Amanda during the picture time so she could chat with Jeffrey. And after we got off the FaceTime call with you, I did kind of prod him a little bit for some information to give up something, but he was pretty tight-lipped. I said, you didn't post anything on social, like going out to eat going out to have gelato anywhere at the local, at the local, restaurants or eateries. And no, they were pretty good about that, not slipping up. So, no, he did not offer up any hints or clues as to where they might have recorded this Cena content, which is yet to be announced.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, with him and Rebecca, how fun could that be? I mean, that's really going to be fun.
So moving on to the next one, Matt Wilper's 16-minute Power Zone ride from the 29th. We got this from Petey Lip. He said, spicy ride with great coaching, stair steps of zone 3, 4, and 5 with some zone 6 thrown in at the end for good measure. And then next up, I'll do one more. Jess King's 30-minute EDM ride, also from the 29th. We got this from Sherrod23. They said great energy and fun music.
Yeah, and I heard she had a very poignant message in that ride. From what I understood, I haven't done it, but I heard she spoke about community and how folks have come together in the community, and never forget that that's such a vital part of the Peloton platform. So that was apparently really nice to hear. All right, well, Rad Lopez, 30-minute todo ritmo, full body strength. It was in Spanish. It was recommended by Miller Family 20. Great programming and music. Kickoff to the Spanish class weekend in the studio. So that was also from Saturday the 29th at 10 a.m. And then Bradley Rose, Amajar 3, jumped on the bike and did 30 minutes with Bradley. It was a 2000s ride. Also from the 29th, they said great playlist with Pink, Madonna, No Doubt, and more. And Jess Sims, 60 minutes, Saturday 60s, 2000s boot camp from the 29th of April. Dippin' Dot 22 recommended this one. Such great energy in this one. And as always, a killer workout.
Nice. Next up, we got Alex's 45-minute Club Bangers ride from the 29th. This one was submitted to us by Rhodes Work, Metal Mags, and AJ Shrag. They said playlist was fire, super fun, and killer energy. And then next up, Selena Soamuelo, who's back on the tread now. Her 30-minute pop run from April 30th. Got this from Grace Donut Look and Bertha C. Runs MD. They said Selena's first run back. Her return was emotional, fun, and amazing. Mama Shark. And no one else is as motivating and plays such awesome music. It was her first run back from Matt from maternity leave, and it was amazing, strong and full of fire, just like her. I particularly loved the song Flawless and her message that we are here for an evolution, not a snapback. And then Jen Sherman's 30-minute My Mixtape ride from April 30th. I believe, yes, this class was Guilty Pleasures. We got this from Rachel Spins 24. Class was Guilty Pleasures, Miley, NSYNC, Smash Mouth, and more.
Awesome. And then Miller Family 20 also recommended Camila Ramon's 30-minute Fiesta Latina ride from the 30th. Amazing music and celebration is what was said about that one. The next one is mine. It is Aditi Shah's 10-minute Reopi meditation. We spoke about it last week on the show that she was doing a meditation dedicated directly to Reopi's music, which she uses a lot in her meditations. It was my 1,500th meditation. And it was pretty poignant to me to be able to celebrate this as I come, off the end of that recovery period from my surgery. I've obviously been doing a ton of meditations in these last 5 months. And it was, amazing to be able to celebrate with her. And the message was so beautiful. So really enjoyed that one. And then
congrats. It's a massive number. I'm just looking. I have 107 meditations just to give some perspective of how big that is.
John, it really has become, I said in a post that I put on social, meditation. I started meditating at a time when I really needed it, a couple years back, and it's grounded me. It's given me some perspective to just be more about myself and recognize, when folks were saying, oh, I don't know how you sit and concentrate. You learn. You actually have to learn how to do it. And I am a very ADD, type personality where I'm all over the place. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I really embrace that time, whether it be, and I pretty much do it every morning, every evening. And then sometimes, in the day, if I'm just finding myself become anxious or frustrated or, sad, I use the meditation just to give me purpose. And it's fantastic. It really has changed my way. Mark has actually even said it to me. He goes, you really are much more focused, since you've been doing yoga and meditation. So I'm so happy that,
that's great. Good for you.
Yeah. All right. Christine Dirkley, her 20-minute Broadway ride. That was from May 1st, 10 a.m. Strong and Squishy recommended this one. They said she was on fire for this class. Hadestown, Come From Away, Funny Girl, and more.
All right. Next up, Tunde's 15-minute pop punk ride. This one seemed to be a pretty popular submission. From May 1st, we got this from Kate Leo's, Liz 311, Elizabeth Z 93, Bertha C Runs MD, and Kristen Min. They said, be ready for some hidden Tabata in this 15-minute class, killer playlist. I almost clipped out when she said Tabata, but I'm glad I stayed. The first 6 minutes and fun and games. The last 8 minutes are work, but Tunde has a way of pushing you and making you feel like she's right there in the work with you. That is unmatched. She is so motivating. And then Kristen McGee's 20-minute yoga flow from May 2nd. We got this from S. Veldy. They said, feel good, quick power flow. And then Dennis's 20-minute country ride, which is his Willie Nelson ride from May 2nd. We got this from Country Lover 82. They said, great class celebrating Willie Nelson. It's a hidden Willie Nelson playlist.
All right, Abby Love, 20-minute soft rock bar class from the 3rd, 9:30 a.m. Tough Tiff Sweats, Amateur 3, and Bitoff Brit, all recommended this one. They said the soft rock playlists go great with bar. I loved every song on this playlist. And then the next one, Maddie Majacomo's 20-minute 80s walk. It was also from the third. Robin Ra, my friend Robin, Kate Lias, and Lokeston all recommended this one. Perfect playlist. Gave Mara vibes as well. And that's quite right. He did that one after his walk and talk on Wednesday morning. He tends to do back-to-back walks on a Wednesday morning. That's why I was confused. I thought it was the walk and talk, but it was the 80s afterwards. And he did great. I mean, his playlist so awesome. So awesome. And then to round it all up, our Mariana Fernandez. This was a 20-minute focus flow for riders. It was also on the 3rd at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. This one was recommended by Kaylee Marie and Miller Family 20. They said the playlist was incredible, and these classes are so good to stack and recover from rides. So, I mean, that's just an awesome bunch of classes that were recommended. So thank you, everybody. I know it really helps to get different perspectives from different members. So we really appreciate you taking the time to send those in to Chris so that we can share them on the show. And I guess, John, that wraps it up. It's a little bit of a longer episode than we are used to, folks. So I hope you grin and bared it and stuck it through the end. We appreciate you so much taking the time to take a listen and get to enjoy what we have to say with you. I will be off for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to have to find, we have to find some replacement there for me, John. Don't get too comfortable. But yeah, I am off to London next week, so I'll be heading to London and then actually to Italy for a wedding. So I have an exciting 10 days coming up. And then we'll be back just right before Memorial Day weekend, I guess. The time is just flying by. That is insane. Yeah. Time is flying by. So yeah, folks, again, thanks so much for taking a listen and being a part of the show, whether you're hearing it on podcast version or getting to see us on YouTube. Thank you, and see you all soon.
Yep, and for me here in Michigan, appreciate you tuning in, watching, listening from all over. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.